Hello, BookTube. The saga of the July 8 is finally over. Every month I put in pre-orders for the following month's forthcoming volumes of manga in the series that I actively collect, and forthcoming first volumes of series that I would like to try out from Book People, the great bookstore in Austin, Texas. This month's pre-order, July's, I had selected UPS to be the deliverer. Unfortunately, things went to hell in a handbasket, and it has taken over 2 weeks for me to finally get the 8 volumes of manga in this manga haul. So, to recap what happened, before I get to the books themselves, when I put in a pre-order with Book People, they give a number of options. Some with the USPS, some with UPS or maybe FedEx, but in my case it was UPS. I selected UPS because for this many volumes of manga, it is actually cheaper to go with UPS than the USPS with a pre-order. Although that was not accounting for the fact that UPS does not always know how to deliver packages to my address. So I live in an apartment complex that is weird. And my unit number is shared by 4 other apartments, although they have A, B, C, and bloody D after them. But sometimes UPS or specific UPS drivers don't know that, and so they will either misdeliver to A, B, C, or bloody D, or in this case, delude themselves into thinking that I don't live here anymore. Although technically I don't live over there, I live over here, but you get the idea. So, the first Friday of August, I had 2 packages out with UPS. One from Book People, the other from Amazon. The Amazon package was a doll that my mom wanted to give the demon toddler, the youngest of my nieces and nephews, for her 3rd birthday. And so neither package arrived. The driver, I guess, was directed to A, B, C, and D and couldn't figure out which one it was. Didn't try to look around for the plain one and decided that we didn't live there. I'm not entirely sure if the driver talked to resident at one of those apartments, or just decided the best thing to do would be to knock on there that we don't live there. Anyway, that caused some complications that I, as the receiver, could not fix. I had to go to the shippers. So the following Tuesday, I got into contact with Book People, and they contacted UPS and tried to fix it. And then on Wednesday, I could talk to Amazon and get them to fix it. And so for some odd reason, the Amazon package was redelivered, and successfully so, because it was one of the drivers that knows this complex. It's one of the regular drivers. So the demon toddler got her doll. But my package from Book People did not arrive. It wasn't put onto that truck for delivery. That happened the following day, on Thursday, which probably had the same driver as the previous Friday, because the same thing happened. The driver didn't deliver it and noted that we had moved. So I contacted Book People back, and they told UPS to just return the package and then once it arrived on Tuesday, book people slapped on a new shipping label and had the post office take over. So, over the last few days, the package has been with the U.S. Postal Service. And so I started off in Austin, spent a few hours more in Austin than I thought it would have, before going to Fort Worth, because that's the local regional one that covers my area. And then it somehow ended up going to Houston for most of Thursday, and didn't leave Houston until early Friday morning when it finally arrived back in Fort Worth. So it was too late on Friday for it to come down to be sorted and delivered on Friday. So that happened today on Saturday. So finally, after going through most of the major cities in Texas, my 8 volumes of manga have finally arrived. So let's look at what I ordered. So first step is Twin Star Exorcists, Volume 34 by Yoshiaki Sukeno. This is the penultimate volume. The final volume comes out in October. The Twin Star Exorcists are destined to end the war with the monstrous Kegare, but at what price? Benio's body is freed from the king of the Kegare, only to be possessed by someone else. Can Rokuro bring her back? Plus, an ominous revelation about the fate of the prophesied child. So I'm really looking forward to this penultimate volume. Volume 22 of Tolaban Hanako-kun by AidaIro. The big clock that governs Kamome Academy's time is destroyed, a sin the clock keepers won't easily forgive. When Akane is called upon to fulfill his duty, he sheds his identity as student council vice president and steps into the role of the lowliest clockkeeper, the guardian of the present. With all the judges in attendance, a trial is to be held in the clockkeeper's boundary. Who is guilty? How shall they be punished? And what must the guardians of time do to set things right? Demons of the Shadow Realm, Volume 8 by Hiromu Arakawa. Ancient demons awaken to fight a new battle in an age-old war. Yuru finally joins the fray against Even, who proves to be a menace even when injured. Using his sharp tongue and even sharper reflexes, Ivan manages to get away, but not before taking a few more lives. As the long night draws to a close, Yuru engages in heart-to-heart talks with both the fake Asa and the real Asa. Can they reconcile Higashi village's sins from the past with their own hopes for the future? Dark Gathering, Volume 14 by Kenichi Kondo. After a dangerous encounter with a malevolent spirit, Kaitaro Gintoga wants nothing to do with the supernatural. Unfortunately for this reluctant ghost magnet, he's stuck helping Yayoi Hozuki, a strange young girl who's intent on capturing Japan's most terrifying ghosts and ghouls. The conquest of Route 1 is complete, and all the pieces are in place for Operation Bellflower Regicide to enter its final stages. With the battle against Yin Jiao only a day away, just one question remains: will Yayoi's planning and preparation be enough to overcome a malevolent god of disaster and misfortune? Or is a gruesome death all that awaits her and her friends? This is going to be fun. And now for the first volume of Nui's Exorcist by Kota Kawae. For as long as he can remember, Gakuro Yajima has been able to see spirits, beings that are drawn to human sadness and anger. A fateful encounter with a quirky pop culture loving spirit named Nui marks the start of Gakuro's spirit exorcist adventure. Outcast Gakuro Yajima's only goal in life has been to avoid spirits and try to live in peace. One day, he accidentally enters a sealed room and meets Nue, a quirky spirit who asks him to defeat the evil ones roaming his skull. Gakuro is reluctant to take her up on the offer, but the spirits won't be waiting patiently for him to make up his mind. And the penultimate volume of Eden Zero, volume 32 by Hiro Mashima. Oh. Sorry about the glare on the covers. Mother has presented Shiki with an impossible choice. He can either lose some of his loved ones now or doom everyone in the universe to die in the future after all the ether withers away. Shiki takes the situation in stride despite there seeming to be no good option. He makes a choice but has no intention of letting things play out the way Mother predicted. Shiki has a plan to save everyone, but Void isn't about to sit still and let Shiki do as he pleases. So, the final volume of Eden Zero will come out at the end of next month. Next up is Volume 7 of Gachiakuta by Kei Urana. The threat of the raiders has been ever looming, and now they've made their move. Rudo has been kidnapped, but he wasn't alone, and each cleaner who was also taken must first defeat the raiders sent to stop them if they want to have any hope of reuniting. Meanwhile, the raiders' boss has a tempting proposal for Rudo: take down the sphere together. Which will be a very tempting offer indeed. And finally, the 8th volume I picked up in July. Record of Ragnarok, Volume 15 by Azychika, Shinya Umemura, and Takumi Fukui. Once every millennium, the gods assemble to decide if humanity is worthy of its continued existence, or if it should be destroyed. When the verdict is destruction, the final battle between the gods and mortal heroes will decide the survival or extinction of the human race, a battle known as Ragnarok. Hades may be the king of Helheim and one of the gods' most powerful champions, but his opponent in round 7, Qin Shi Huang, proves to be much more formidable than anyone expected. However, the human champion's sublime fighting techniques take a surprising toll on him, and victory is not guaranteed. What happened to Qin Shi Huang's past that made him prefer to fight blindfolded? So, really looking forward to seeing more of the fight between Hades and Qin Shi Huangdi. So, Record of Ragnarok Volume 15, Gachiakuta Volume 7, Eden Zero Volume 32, Nui's Exorcist Volume 1, Dark Gathering Volume 14, Tollabound Hanako-kun Volume 22, Twin-Star Exorcist Volume 34, and Demons of the Shadow Realm Volume 8. So I am so looking forward to reading these 8 volumes of manga tomorrow. So I will see you next week, BookTube, with more videos. So until then, thank you, have a great afternoon, and enjoy your weekend.